if you ever feel stupid, just remember that when I was much younger, I dated this guy who had me and a girl he was dating in his car at the same time whilst he spoke to his main girlfriend on loudspeaker in his car. This same guy also dated two of my friends. I wouldn't say we're close or anything, but they were girls I went to the same secondary school with. And he dated us in succession, and none of us found out till the very end. And then eventually he proposed to the girl that he was on loudspeaker with. And then when I found out, this guy had the guts to tell me that he made a promise to his dead grandma that he was going to marry that girl. At a point in that relationship, even before I found out that he was cheating, one of his friends took me out for dinner and then told me that, oh, if you have plans of dating somebody else, do, because my friend is not taking you anywhere. Guess what I did? I went to tell my boyfriend that this is what this person said about you, so he's not your friend. And even before the day that he was on loudspeaker with the other girl in the car, I used to go to work with him. We used to go to work together, and we didn't work at the same office, but we used to work in the same like vicinity. So on our way to work each day, how he got away with speaking to this girl every day on phone was because he had told me that that was his favorite cousin, and on our way to work each day, he would call her and then mention her whole government's name. So for the purposes of this story, let's say her name was Linda Sewakoto. Hey, that's the name of somebody I went to school with, oh, but that's not her. So he would mention the whole name. Linda Sewakoto, my sweet cousin. How are you doing this fine morning? And then they'll proceed to have the most casual conversation. Thing is that I never suspected that there was anything going on. And even if I did, I didn't think anybody had the guts to talk to another girl on loudspeaker whilst another girl was there. Do you get my drift? Yes. So I did not suspect it till the day that we went to pick the other girl. So before we got to the other girl's house, he had told me that, oh, there's this girl who has asked for a lift, and this girl is sort of moving to him, and he doesn't like it, but he's trying to be a gentleman and has to help her out. So, me, by the time we got to the girl's house, I had already found my face. Because if you know women, we are very territorial. And I believe that he had told her a similar story. So even before she got into the car, she was already angry. When she sat in the car, she didn't greet anybody. And then we went on our way. He made the same call he's been making at this point for months now, and then proceeded to have the most casual conversation. If I tell you how smooth of an operator this guy was, you will not believe it. I'll not tell you guys how I found out, but then eventually at the end of the relationship, I found out that that was a girl he was with, and then the girl on the loudspeaker was the main girlfriend, and then I was also a side chick. If you guys want to know the story of how he dated, I found out he was dating two girls I went to the same secondary school with. Just let me know. If I tell you I didn't know that this guy was a shady character from the get go, I'm a liar. Because a few weeks after we started dating, I asked of his date of birth, and then he told me. But then I checked it as against the year of birth, and I knew that he was a Monday born, and that date wasn't a Monday. So I asked him that, you named after a Monday born, or you were actually born on a Monday? He said, sure, Monday born like me. Can you ask me this question? So I was like, but if you check your date of birth as against the year of birth, it's not a Monday. So what are you saying? He got angry and started gaslighting me. Made me feel like I was crazy. So I just let that slide. So the week before his birthday, he told me that, oh, he wants to go and spend it with his family in another area, but I could be in his house. And at that point, I was also planning a small get together for him with his friends and my friends. So we had to post So how I found out that he was dating two girls I went to the same secondary school with. Let's name them Abna and Abby. So one day he changed his display picture. At that time it wasn't WhatsApp status. He changed his display picture to this like older lady's picture. So in my head I was like, I know this lady from somewhere. So I kept trying to remember and eventually it came to me. I was like, this is Abna's mom. Because I was in the same dorm with this girl. So I knew her mom by face. So then I asked him, I was like, do you know this lady's daughter? He was like, no, 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 no. I know that she has a daughter, but I've never met her. I only meet the boys when I go to their house because she was in uni as I then. And I said, oh, okay. So I didn't think much of it till later on in the relationship. Now back to the other girl that we're calling Abby. So Abby used to work in a bank, and his best friend, the one who told me this guy doesn't have any plans for you and then move on, used to work in the same bank, and coincidentally they worked in the same department. And I knew that this guy was a womanizer sort of. So I knew that there was no way that that girl would not be somebody that he knew, given that his best friend used to work in the same department with Abby. So I asked him one day that, oh, I have this like old school friend that works in the same department with your friend. Do you know her? He was like, yeah, I know her by face, but she's rude, so I've never spoken to her and I don't like her. I said, okay. So one day I went to this guy's office and he had left his laptop open. So he got a call and he stepped out. And for some reason, something said, go and look on his laptop. When I went, his Facebook was open. And then I clicked on his friends list. That was when I saw this girl's picture staring back at me, her profile, I mean. I was like, you said you haven't spoken to this person before, you don't like her. What is she doing in your friends list? It didn't make sense to me. And so eventually one day, at the collapse of the relationship, he came clean to say, oh, this was somebody that I dated, this other girl I dated, but I didn't know how to tell you. I was like, what a snake, you devil. But eventually, what broke up the relationship was one Christmas, after I had avoided going to Winneba for a long time, I decided to go to Winneba for Christmas. And that was because he had even said he was going to travel to Nigeria for the Christmas with his boss. So I thought, if my boyfriend is not in Accra, let me just go to Winneba. So I went and I didn't speak to him throughout because I didn't want to disturb him or anything like that. So I came back to Accra, I think on the 28th or something. And then I still didn't see him. I didn't call him. He had come back by then. He just told me that he was back, but I didn't speak to him or anything. He sent me a text and I responded. So after the 31st, we went to church, and at that time, my pastor then, Pastor Wake Up, shout out to you. He said, if you have any prayer requests, like just write it on a piece of paper and then bring it. So I wrote at that time, at that point, there were so many things happening in the relationship. So I just wrote on a piece of paper that if this relationship is not meant for me, God should let it go and then give me the peace of mind not to think about it. On the 2nd of January, when I resumed work, he called me and said, oh, after work, we'll go to my place together. So bring an extra dress and then we'll go to I'll pick you up after work and we'll go to my place. And I said, okay.